Alright, welcome to another edition of Google's Evil and such. Yeah, don't applaud it, don't defend it, quit playing with it where you can. Stop it. Something. Thumb your nose at least. Jeez, you can do something, can't you? Something? Except reward a marketing company? I mean, a company who makes its money trying to persuade people to buy crap they don't need. I mean, fuck. And make us all pay for it. We all have to pay for a bunch of commercial advertising. The whole point of the internet is to make a direct, to make the lines direct. Like we can just go right to the Better Business Bureau, or we can go right to the reviews, or we can go right to something and find out whether a product's good or bad, and we can make our own decisions. We don't need them to stand up each one of the product sellers and try to stick their sign in front of us. Smart people don't need that. Reasonable people don't need that. Any kind of decent person doesn't need that. Why are you defending that as a system? Because we're paying for it, you idiots. Google costs us a fortune, you dumbasses. Anyway. Too stupid. Sorry, it's just too stupid. Alright, to reward evil. Alright, so enough of that. Alright, moving on. Let's understand what it did. I mean, it annihilated old fans' entire video channel. 13 years or so of videos. It'll be at grad school, all kinds of events, all kinds of things, all kinds of subjects. All the videos, 1,000 videos, whatever it is, just disappear in one day. No strikes, no warnings, no appeal, no anything. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. For content far tamer than the content on this channel, frankly. Alright. And obviously this content has been threatened and annihilated in the past. My Do Not God channel was likewise exterminated in one day. Okay. For nothing. For a figure art drawing. With nothing in it. No. It's a drawing. It wasn't even a vulgar drawing. It was just a drawing. Alright, anyway. Just too evil. Okay. See, now it just gets you wound up. Okay, so the subject is winding spaghetti, and that's what our brains do: is wind ideas and make them into who we become. So it just depends on what kind of stuff is stuck to what kind of stuff in your brain, what kind of ideas you've connected, how you've associated good, the word good, and bad, and what you have connected to it. That kind of stuff. That's all it's about. And so the video was about explaining some of those dynamics of how our brain works, and I used the analogy of a wheel snagging spaghetti, and the spaghetti is sticky, and so the pieces of spaghetti are stuck to each other based on ideas and concepts, based on reasonable association between, I could say, needle nose pliers, and then that would bring up screwdrivers, and that would bring up crescent wrenches, and that would bring up hammers, and that would bring up, all the associations, all the stuff that's gotten stuck to each other over time in your brain, the memories that are stuck, all that stuff. Anyway, so let's play the video and see how that goes. Alright, so I have to do a couple of little things to make it possible to play the video. Yeah, that's right, that's right. Okay, I should be okay. So we'll jump ahead a little bit because you don't need the intro. Something you're not really saying because of that context. They don't care about anything being correctly understood. They just care about tripping you. Yeah, so this is the snag of speaking your mind. So if you allow the spaghetti wheel to spin and you don't filter it. You don't have spaghetti on the wheel that's actually saying stop, slow down. You've got to, I need to be very careful about what words I use in describing this event. I have to slow it all down. I have to, your subconscious needs time to make sure, oh, I can't say the C word. I can't say this. I can't say that. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't imply that. So all of the filtering that has to go on. Because if you do speak your mind, if you do say, oh, just kill the fucker, you don't really mean kill him, but you just mean, hey, this is such bullshit, okay? It's time to, yes, whatever, hit him, anal probe him, do something where he gets the idea that, fuck you, we're sick of this shit. Don't do that no more, or it's going to hurt. The next time it's really going to hurt. That kind of thing. But you can't say that. So that's the first thing to make people aware of. And the point was that, this is all people will pay attention to, is they'll take a whole theory, you could propose a whole drawing, and because one line, okay, was crooked because you had a stroke at the moment you were drawing it, oh yeah, that line's wrong, but all the other lines are perfect. They'll focus on the one line. They'll not see the whole image. You drew a perfect picture of a little ducky, and they'll forget the whole picture because, oh yeah, there's an eyebrow and the duck doesn't have an eyebrow. It's just such bullshit that people cling to. It's such a dirty, putrid world of shenanigans and cheap shots and cheap, hollow, garbage victories. Disgusting what people are on this planet. Is that other people matter, the society matters, the civilization matters. Yeah, so again, I'm talking a little bit about reward and punishment and how that works on us and how it works. I don't say reward and punishment in the video, but yeah, I'm just talking a little bit about that kind of context, that you have these ideas in your head and they matter. They're really important ideas. So if you don't want to be, if you understand that your job here on Earth is not to be shit, but to be something nice, flower, then yes, then the mission, then you understand that's the context you have to do everything in. You have to prevent yourself from being shit. It's not that complicated. It's really not complicated to recognize what their role here is and why society would find it necessary to correct. Yeah, so this whole idea is why are we playing this game? Why are we rewarding criminals? Why are we doing all that? I mean, this isn't that complicated. Most of these things called crimes are crimes because there's a probabilistic outcome that if people did this kind of stuff regularly, it won't come out good. It'll come out bad. There's a bad end result product. So you have to do everything you do responsibly and within these guidelines. And, you could get to breeding pets and the sloppiness of it all and the unregulated and, all these feral animals end up on the street, all this blight. For no good reason, but because people don't respect what a civilization requires. It requires maintenance. It requires you to say people can't graffiti on the fences and they can't do this and they can't do that because it turns it all into shit. So what's so complicated here? When people are committing crimes, they're committing crimes against civilization. It's not against an individual. It's against the whole idea of civilization. It's against the whole idea of having some sort of system where we can navigate without all kinds of unnecessary waste. Expense for no good reason. Forcing people into coal mines when we don't need the coal. This is all extra energy we have to pull out of the ground and people have to die for it. People have to die to manufacture the stuff all these criminals are wasting. They're murderers. There are no small crimes in a way. Because some of them lead to real crimes against the people who are preserving the civilization. They're the ones that have to clean it up and they have to die doing it. Out. Come on, too stupid. Yeah, and that's what's got to be, but you got to fix people in the sense that you got to, when you're doing the first strike thing. Okay, so the fix is you've got to change their mindset. If their mindset isn't going to change, then fuck them. That's the point. The point is if they're not going to recognize their obligation to civilization, And they're not going to understand, oh yeah, that's the whole idea. I'm not allowed to be poo on the sidewalk. Okay, I have to at least move my pooiness to the curb, or maybe I should try not to be fucking poo. Whatever it does to filter this shit and do this and do that, I don't have any, you know, there's no direct connection. I don't feel my liver working. Right, so we don't feel our brain doing its thing either, okay? It's producing you, okay? Guess what? You don't know how it's doing it. You don't, you can't sit there and say, oh yeah, I can feel. You don't feel your heart beating. You don't feel your kidneys squishing. You don't feel any of this shit. And every now and then you get a little gurgle. They'll say, oh yeah, my stomach's doing something. So once in a while your stomach lets you know what's going on. And once in a while your brain lets you know some kind of idea of who you are and what you're about and what you're trying to do. You have some vague notion of what I'm doing here and why I'm making this video and all that kind of stuff. I have, you know, it's right there on the surface. I can still see that part. That part of the spaghetti is hitting the surface. And so I can see what's on the spaghetti hitting the surface. But that's all I get to see. How the spaghetti is constructed, I don't get anything. I don't get any notice. Look, my hands did all this little bullshit. I didn't have anything to do with it. What the fuck? I don't know what my hands are doing. They're out of control. What the fuck? What? I didn't ask you to do any of that shit. Yeah, but that's what the machine created. It forced the issue. It made it do it. I just poked myself in my eye. Yeah, right? Not because I said do it. Thought of is why do I make these videos and all of that, and yeah, it's to point out the most heinous of possible crimes, the most make yourself a huge giant poo, you know, make yourself a horrible virus and blight, is procreation. Is yeah, there you go. So yeah, I threw that in just to point out, you know, I'm making a video about the brain, but I'm saying, what's the point of this whole conversation? Why do we need to know how our brain works? Why do we need to know any of this stuff? Well, it's to get right answers, not to get wrong answers, to improve how your brain functions by putting spaghetti on the wheel that's telling the other spaghetti you can't be too stupid. All right, too stupid. It's spaghetti that's spinning and saying, hey, that spaghetti that you live by, that's crap. You're being too fucking stupid. You're being a lying sack of selfish shit. All right, you need that spaghetti. All right, and that's the whole point here, is to have the right shit on your wheel that's telling you, yeah, I get it. Okay, I shouldn't roll dice with skull and crossbones on them. If I can't find a better pair of dice to roll, I shouldn't be rolling the fucking dice. See, I shouldn't have said fucking, because oh, that's gonna cause all kinds of spaghetti to fly in some brains. Some brains can't have the F word. You know, and their spaghetti's gonna fly all over the place. The whole thing will break down. Their whole capacity to do logic is now disrupted. Shit. It's just, this planet is so fucking ridiculous. It's just those other speeders who are fucking up. You know, that kind of bullshit. Yeah, so that's another piece of spaghetti, is the rationalizations and the bullshit. Right? I can speed without killing people. It's those other speeders that are the problem. They're the ones putting the skull and crossbones on the dice. They're not really there when I'm in control, because I'm super special and I never murder anybody. Just too fucking stupid. I mean, even if it were true, even if you were an excellent speeder, and you know exactly when to speed and exactly how to do it, and you're just perfect at it, the fact is, if you endorse the activity, you have to give all the other morons who aren't good at it permission to do it. And that's the problem, fuckheads. Shit. I was almost becoming, you know, getting a compulsive disorder. You know. So just to, you know, every now and then it's nice to put in a little story from personal experience and a little stuff that goes on. But yes, there was a point in my life where all I had was superstition. All I had was, how the fuck do I control any of this? I find out I'm living on a bug planet full of lunatics, and I'm saying, well, what can I do to control any of this? How do I stop myself from getting cancer? How do I stop myself from getting a tornado knocking my house on me? What the fuck do? Do I have any control at all? And so I desperately clung to some notions every now and then. I would have little periods where superstition would own me, and I would be Okay, just turn the light switch off 3 times and make the bet. Okay, if I can turn off the light switch in less than 1 second, if I can flip it on and off 3 times in less than 1 second, I win and I won't get cancer. I mean, I would make deals like that. I mean, you know, just out of gross desperation. Give me some fucking control, because I had none. Because, yeah, I don't interact with anybody except on the internet almost. Because because there's no way to control any of it. You cannot have a guaranteed positive impact. You can only have probabilities. So yes, you can say hi, how are you? Oh, great, thanks. You know, you can be civil and nice and hope they won't trip while you're distracting them with conversation. You can hope. You know, I can give them a tomato. Hey, here's a tomato from my garden. And you're going to just hope they don't choke on it, right? You know, by some stupid fluke, the seed goes into their lung and they die. I mean, yeah, okay, improbable. I'm just saying it's on the dice, for fuck's sake. So it's like you don't even want to roll any dice, because every set of dice has some sort of crap on it somewhere. And frankly, the more dice you roll, the more likely it is the crap's going to eventually show up. I mean, if it's a 1 in a million chance, but you've rolled the dice 1,000,000 times, well, you got a 50-50 chance now. Not too good. Decimals, it doesn't lose any places. We do. Okay, by our expedience, we cheat the argument a lot for a good outcome for us. Yeah, so that's just a tiny bit in there about, you know, the fact that, yeah, but this is part of how the brain and body functions, is that it's preserving itself. It's, you know, it's a selfish machine by nature, and it's only these ideas that make us something better than that. It's only the idea of understanding, oh, I know the rule. The rule is my welfare isn't more important than other people's welfare. I know it as a fact. Now, I won't feel it as a fact. I won't experience it as a fact, but I can know it's a fact. So when I am doing my little selfish thing and feeling good because it's happening to somebody else, oh, thank God. That little thought will pop into my head. Well, you shouldn't be thanking anybody, because this isn't a good outcome. Them being tortured is not a good outcome. You're misinterpreting reality if you think it's a good outcome. You got it wrong. Okay, all you did was get lucky, fuckhead. Spaghetti has words in it. Those words come into you. You hear you say the words. You feel yourself thinking the words. You see a little bit of the connection. You know, I say fish and then I say water. Right, so we can see little pieces of how our brain works, but we just get so little. We're really just observing ourselves being ourselves. I don't make me happens, and I watch me happen, and I say, well, I guess that's who I am, right? I don't really have a choice. I can't draw any other conclusion. Apparently, this is me doing this video, and I really don't have anything to do with it. I mean, it is me, I'll admit. I'm doing it. But I didn't really have anything to do with it. I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm not happy with what me is doing, because I am happy that me is doing me. Mostly. I mean, most of it, I'm critical. I mean, I don't like that I still, you know, I'm not as careful as I need to be in my words and blah, blah, blah. But again, I don't know how to speed it up either. And, you know, writing it is so complicated. Yeah, it's just so complicated. Anyway. But yeah, so I'm doing the best I can. Me is working at making a me that me can be proud of. You know, but I really don't have anything to do with it. I'm just watching it happen like you are. I watch me be me. But I don't really, you know, what do I have to do with it? I exist in this moment, and I exist with some memories, but that's about all I am, you know, versus all of the constructions the brain is doing, all of the spaghetti spinning. You know, the two are connected. You know, I can see that. That's probably enough. But it's really important, I think, for people to have some thoughts about how they think. Because once you start thinking about how you're thinking, see, and that's just another piece of spaghetti. Once you have that idea that, oh, I should think about what I'm thinking, because how I think sometimes is corrupt and selfish and stupid, so I should think about whether I did my thinking, whether the brain is thinking correctly. So it's self-analyzing all the time. It's constantly fact-checking. Is this consistent with what you've accepted as truth? Is it consistent with a three-dimensional universe? Is it consistent with, whatever, solid dynamics? Is it consistent with good and evil? Is it consistent with blah, 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 blah? And it's constantly testing based on that standard, that hunk of spaghetti that's sort of stuck on the wheel, the fact that it's going to check against. But it's not always there, It's not always capable. The fact checker isn't always capable because the wheel can be spinning too fast to do any of that. It can be just too caught up in a theme, chasing the right now and something immediate. And it's just too distracted to do any fact checking. So anyway, I think this is really important stuff, but again, it's like, will any of the people who need to hear this video? That's the part that's probably low probability. And that's the sad and tragic part, is the people who need to do some philosophy, and you just can't drag them to that water, and make them drink it. It just doesn't happen. Tragically, really. It's part of the what we have to overcome to endeavor to persevere. We can only try. There's no deserve has anything to do with it, kind of all that crap. It really doesn't. And again, that's just makes the battle that much more frustrating. It's hard enough to organize everything. It's hard enough to make the food so you can eat it. It's hard enough to get all this right. Get all the sand out of the shrimp or whatever you're eating, whatever the thing is, to try to clean it and make it edible. And then you have the burden of marching 500 miles to where they're going to eat it. And then they'll have some other bullshit where, they're not hungry right now, whatever. So it's just so many hoops, so many obstacles to fruitful conversation among human beings. All right, so that's enough, I think. So now I'm doing this because I'm feeling, yes, I did my job. This wasn't a bad, yes, it's good. This is good conversation. It's a necessary conversation, and I didn't do a bad job of introducing the conversation. But we'll see. We'll see what I can pile on top of it next time and such. So, until next time and such, this has been a GoogleIsEvil video production, donotgod.com, really. It's what the fuck 700 and something, really, but whatever. See, again, you can't stay in, just everything has to be, everything gets bent and twisted, and the context, the truth of it gets distorted and perverted. It's just too bad. It's just sad that the one image is really not 1,000 words, or it's not 1,000 of the right words. It doesn't say quite enough. And that's just, I wish it was easier. Yeah. The stories always have to be long stories, and people don't like long stories. Anyway, so till the next time and such and so forth and whatnot. The end, and yeah. The end.